is the founder and CEO of YKONE. After graduating from Sciences Paris with the master's degree in marketing, he joined L'Oréal Paris as digital marketing manager for the luxury division. In 2008, Olivier left L'Oréal in pursuit of his own business venture, YKONE, the world's first influencer marketing agency to cater to luxury, beauty, fashion, travel, and lifestyle brands. Over the past decade, Olivier has spearheaded YKONE from a French company to a multinational brand, implanted across 16 of the world's most buzzing cities, from Paris to Milan, New York to Dubai, and Bangalore to Shanghai. In addition to entrepreneurship, Olivier shared his passion for digital marketing as a lecturer for master's students at Sciences Po Paris. He was awarded Entrepreneur of the Year in 2014 by Ernest Young and continues to share his insights about influencer marketing as a speaker at conferences around the world. Olivier and his team of diverse talents have mastered the art of influence through YKONE's one-of-a-kind offering, combining cutting-edge creativity, an innovative data-driven approach, and an unparalleled network of influencers and celebrities. Through powerful imagery, mesmerizing videography, and poetic storytelling, YKONE brings brand stories to life through the world's biggest thought leaders, reaching millions with the power of social media. Olivier Billon, welcome to the LifeLab. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure to have you. So let's start by talking a little bit about YKONE and how you founded YKONE and the journey that led you there.
Oh, it's really simple. I spent a lot of time at school. I loved university. I ended up having 3 master degrees.
Where was that?
It was in France, in the city of Versailles. I initially had a master in law, then in political science, then I had a master in marketing, and I loved being a student.
And were those consecutive degrees, like
Yes.
one after the other? So you stayed in university a long time?
6 years. Voilà. And after all of that time spent at school, I wanted to continue. I wanted to go for an MBA or something like that. But I felt that maybe it was time to find a transition from school to business. Mm-hmm. And at that time, my school started an incubator program, which was a 1-year entrepreneurship track. And if you were successful in the entrepreneur track, you would get funding from the school, which in the end was a way to stay at school without having to pay the fees of the master. You know, I was hesitant between paying 50K for an MBA or receiving funding, so I stayed. At that time, all I knew was social media. That was my area of expertise as a student.
That would have been before social media was like...
At that time, you had some forum, some bloggers. I was a blogger myself. I was a lot into online communities. Mm-hmm. And I believe that for brands, it would become eventually an important area of investment. At that time, we spoke about viral marketing, about buzz marketing, which was the preliminary form of social media. I just proposed to my school to keep me under the entrepreneurship track. And I proposed to create a company that would literally help luxury brands to evaluate the potential of communities. Mm-hmm. It quickly became successful as a school project. Mm-hmm. So I got a $250,000 of funding from teachers, school, mentors, which, you know, when you have a $250,000 and you are just 24 years old, you can get yourself a salary, hire a couple of people, and we kind of always assume that would end after 1 year. But we got some clients quickly, Chanel, Dior, L'Oréal, over the first couple of quarters. So then the dynamic started.
And how did that happen as a student in a student incubator program, like getting those huge global brands? Were they just...
I think I was so naive. I had nothing to lose. I had no name, no ego, I was no one. So I had nothing to lose sending an email to the CEO of Chanel to propose my services. And that's literally what I did. So I went to see the chairman of the school. I knew that the CEO of Chanel was part of the board of the school. And I said, oh, can you introduce me to Françoise Montenay? And he was like, yes, why not? So I got that meeting. And you know, So I was 25. I had a meeting with the CEO of Chanel.
Wow.
Or maybe the president or chairman, I don't know. And 15 minutes before arriving to the meeting, I arrived and I realized that I was having a pair of jeans and a dirty t-shirt.
Okay, not a good look for the...
No, so I had 15 minutes to walk out, buy a shirt, which still had you could see that the shirt was new.
Yeah.
I felt so stupid, but still, it works.
So you had the meeting and then it went well, obviously.
It went well. Chanel became one of our first clients. Looking backward, I could not do it today. Today, I would not take the risk of sending an email to the CEO of Chanel because I would feel ashamed if I don't get a reply. I don't feel allowed to send an email to someone like that. But that's something which I think is magical when you're just a student. You have no idea that you actually have nothing to lose.
Yeah, and you have, I suppose, you're not as intimidated maybe because you're just starting off and you just think, you can give anything a shot. Yeah. Whereas when you have a bit more experience, I don't know, it becomes a little bit more, you're more cognizant of people in those positions that, you can't just approach them, it's a bad thing really. Like it's good that,
Yes, still I think that many CEOs are more approachable than their directors. It's this is something I keep doing when I really want to work for a brand. I don't hesitate to directly send a message to the CEO on LinkedIn, or there are tons of tools to allow you to find the phone numbers of anyone, and
you can reach them that way.
Right.
So Chanel became your first big global brand. So what happened after that? So you're 24, you have your first big global brand, you're still in the incubator stage in your university. And then how did it, YKONE now is this international brand working with so many, luxury and high-end clients. Like, how did it evolve all over the world?
So, today, YKONE is an advertising company specialized in influencer marketing for luxury brands. So we became kind of an advertising agency. There is nothing so special or unique in what we do. We're just an
But you have an IP, right?
No, we have tons of unique things, but in the end, we are an advertising company specialized in social media. At that time, in 2008, when I started the business, social media and influencer was so new, as metaverse is new today. So when I was reaching out to those brands to propose my services, I don't think they were interested in my services. They were interested in my expertise because I was one of the first to care about influence marketing. So brands were familiar working with journalists, with celebrities, with models, with photographers, but blogger, that was new. So most of the time, brands were hiring me to educate, train, do some consulting, help them to define their new organization. So many clients were like, oh, should we create a job? Should we train our PR to do social media? So actually my first mission for Chanel was not to do anything else than training.
Training their staff, their
training
own
their
staff.
Voilà. Same with Dior later on, doing a lot of workshop, sometimes filming videos that they could spread across the globe to explain how influencers would eventually become something. For the first year, I felt I was more an ambassador or an advocate of a new discipline. And when Instagram arrived a few years later, then the business started to be mature. So the first years were what we call in France traversée du désert, which means like alone walking throughout the desert until you eventually find an oasis. The oasis was Instagram. Voilà. And Instagram created an industry, and that changed the whole dynamic.
And that must have been really exciting then. So you were only in France at that point, and then you started to look outside that country. And
from 2008 to 2012 or 13, we were a French influencer marketing company. all the staff in France, all clients in France. Of course, doing some campaigns with international bloggers, but mostly for French brands. Quickly, we felt that that business would boom, and tons of other companies would pop in our sector. I didn't felt comfortable becoming the CEO of what would be a French PR company. What we do is PR, right? We are intermediary between opinion leaders and brands. And I loved the entrepreneurial phase of creating something new, but I didn't like seeing myself on the seat of a French PR firm. What I loved was the idea of create a globalized company. And I'm a traveler. I mean, anytime I have $500 and 3 days, I just want to book a flight and go abroad. Voilà. I also felt deeply that being a company owner was actually a way of achieving personal goals through a company.
In what way?
In what way?
Through traveling.
I love Dubai. Why don't I create a business in Dubai which would give me a reason to come once a month?
Okay.
I went to Moscow, didn't like it, won't set up a business. I went to India. I love the country. I'm gonna establish in India. I felt in love with the Saudi culture. I want to establish a company in Saudi. You know, I felt that you can create and expand your company in territories where you like to travel, meet the people, and be part of the place. So, I mean, as an individual, I can't afford to travel 200 days a year. As a CEO, it becomes my job, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That is really cool.
Voilà. So by you can say that in order to fulfill my personal needs for travel, I created an international network. Well, today that's super cool because YKONE has offices in 15 cities, and all those 15 cities are super cool. You know, we expand in cities where Soho House has hotels, where Edition has hotels, where it's. I kind of find it cool to see that we expand in some of the coolest cities. That's also where you have cool people, cool influencers, cool restaurants. It just makes the life
really interesting.
Voilà. And you know, one of the things that people often ask is how do you find the right personal life and work-life balance? I think the moment you try to balance the both,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You need to find a way to overlap the two. Alors, maybe it's not healthy, especially from an employee standpoint, but from a CEO standpoint, in the end, as a founder, my company is a reflection of my personal DNA. Otherwise, there would be an inconsistency between what I believe and what I sell. So that's it.
And so it's in 15 cities now, YKONE. And how many staff?
Around 200.
It's amazing. And including in the States, in Las Vegas, and all over the world. And what do you think, like, from that journey, from obviously being a student to becoming the CEO of an international company with offices all over the world, was there any piece of advice that you felt guided you the most to get you there? Or was there something that stands out, or a mentor, something somebody told you that helped you find your journey?
Well, at the beginning, I had lots of business angels, mentors, people like that. Honestly, it was not successful for me.
Really?
Yes, because people that I admire for their success would sometimes guide me into replicating what made them successful. So as much as I love meeting inspiring people, I don't like to have them on my board or my advisory.
Really?
Yeah, because... And maybe that's because I had the wrong one, or maybe because that's something French, I don't know. But I personally think that just following your guts and intuition is usually more valuable than trying to replicate formulas that worked for others. I really follow my intuition.
Follow your intuition.
I need to align my... I just need to feel good Like if I meet a client which makes me at ease, I'll feel confident. If I interview a candidate which makes me at ease after a couple of minutes, I'll hire him. It's a lot of gut feeling.
So it's really instinctual, like how you lead the business, how you make decisions, how you've got to this point.
Yeah.
And is that something that was like nurtured as a kid, or like do you feel like how? Because I think a lot of people as they grow up lose that kind of being able to tap into it.
As a CEO, as a leader, you need to take decisions, and usually you need to take them quickly, and you need to be convinced. Rarely people ask me to justify my decision. Okay, so if I try to have a rational process to take a decision, it might take a lot of time. I might lose money, get advices, etc. And will I be able to argue why I took the decision? I don't know. If I just follow my guts, it will take 1 minute. I don't have to justify myself. I'm the CEO. And that's it. And if I make a mistake, just be humble, admit you were wrong, and fix the problem. So I feel that an intuition-driven decision-making process makes things easier. Alors, intuition is easier when you have experiences, right? So...
and you have a lot of experience with the traveling and the always, going around the world, and that helps, I guess.
The more decision you take every day, the more you get used to taking decision, and the faster you take decision, right? So it's all about being quick on taking decision.
Even if you make a mistake, like you said, you just admit you make a mistake.
You
and
immediately admit that you made a mistake. You try to fix it, and you move on.
And Olivier, what are some of the biggest challenges you faced getting YKONE to this stage, and how did you overcome them?
Plenty. One was to first differentiate me and my company
from other similar.
No, it's like at the beginning I was taking everything personal. I lose a client, I felt that I was shit. An employee was resigning, I felt that this employee was quitting me. You take everything personally. So the first very big, I would say, effort is to differentiate what the company does to what you do, to avoid making it too personal. In that sense, I never called my company with my name. Some PR companies, their name is the name of the founder, or in the advertising world,
for sure.
Ogilvy is after Mr. Ogilvy.
Edelman,
etc. That's something which I refuse, because I don't want to overlap my
personal identity with
the company. The second barrier or effort is creating a leadership team which really empowers people to become leaders. In that sense, I got pretty inspired by the way law firms are functioning. In the law firm, there is no CEO and directors. They have partners. Each partner is the boss of a client portfolio, also the boss of a discipline, can be IP, HR, contract law, etc., etc. So every partner is complementary to the other, or a football team. So I like this idea of having partners which have strong expertise, which make them legitimate, without having to compete
with each other.
So we have set a leadership team which is more of a partnership structure. Someone takes care of Italy, someone takes care of France, someone takes care of the US. So they have the ownership on a business, but they need the other to succeed.
So they're kind of symbiotic, all of them are.
Voilà. And there is a critical size where when we had just 3 offices, the leadership team was quite small. So it looked like a volley team with 3 or 4 players. Now that we have 15 offices, we have 15 directors. So if someone is sick, if someone needs to take some time off, if someone is not succeeding, he can capitalize on the other who are scoring, who are performing, who are dynamic, to balance the overall performance. And today I see myself more as the coach of a football team rather than the best player of the team.
And that works. That works for YKONE.
I think so.
Yeah. So you're kind of like the mentor, you watch their performance, you give them advice, but you're not...
I try to coordinate the effort of everyone to help everyone in need to fix their problem. And when people are doing super well, I try to push them to go even further. Like last year, we started YKONE in the US. We reopened the US. And after just 6 months, we just blew the P&L. We knew that it was not 2 million, but 5 that we would do on year one. I did everything I could to give my VP some self-confidence to be ready for that growth. But I never interfere into its management.
Okay. Because he was the expert in that market.
Because I wanted to make sure that he takes ownership for the success and make sure as well that he grows in the way he wants to grow. So we ended up opening an office in Las Vegas, which was not the plan. But it appears that my VP had connection in Vegas. He liked the city. He went there. We had some business. So I said, Nick, there is no coincidence. If you make business in Vegas, just open an office in Vegas and hire people in Vegas. It was not the plan. But I tried to push him to just follow his intuition without having to go to a rational, strategic mindset.
Wow.
If BCG was managing my company, we would have...
not opened it in Vegas.
No. But because all strategic thinking would lead to open in Los Angeles or New York. And we choose to be in Washington, Miami, and Vegas.
Wow.
That's just intuition.
And that was just following your gut. Voilà. Yeah.
Alors, of course, you have to balance the intuition with some strategic thinking. We are not in London yet. And it's impossible for a company of our caliber to pretend being a worldwide leader without being in London.
Okay.
So we are fixing that problem. We have created an entity in the UK. We are hiring a director. She's joining during the summer. And the decision to open in the UK is not based on intuition. It's more based on strategic thinking.
Of course, yeah.
So voilà, it's balancing intuition and strategy.
Strategic thinking. And that's once again the intuition thing coming into how the business is being run and how it's growing. Is there something that you know now that you wish you'd known at the start of your career?
I wish I knew 15 years ago that it takes 10 years to build a reputation. At the beginning, I was so obsessed about gaining clients, hiring people, collecting payment from clients. I had to pay the salaries by the end of the month. And the financial cash flow reality was distracting me from the long term. Now I realize that my asset is my reputation. It took me 15 years to be respected within my community. If I had known 15 years ago that it would take me 15 years to have that reputation, I might have had gone more slowly on the growth.
Really?
Yeah. I was too obsessed about achieving the 10 million euro objective a few years ago. But actually, that milestone is just one of the milestones to achieve 100. But if on the way to achieve 10 million, you fail with some clients, you become stupid and become arrogant and lose some key employees, achieving that goal is nothing.
That's really interesting.
Right. So I tried to force myself sometimes to be more slow, to postpone some goals. Like if we don't open London this year, no drama, we'll do it next year. But when we do it, we will succeed.
You'll do it right. Voilà. Yeah. And what are you most proud of so far?
If we focus in the area of work,
you can tell me both.
No, when your reputation, when you meet people that have a positive opinion on you without knowing you, that makes you very proud. I'm also extremely proud that we have an extremely good HR reputation. There is this platform called Glassdoor where employees rate. last week I saw that 99% of the reviews are positive about the CEO.
Amazing.
So that makes me quite proud. I'm also pretty proud that many of my competitors started from people who worked at my company.
Okay.
Which annoyed me
at the beginning.
Now it makes me proud.
It's the biggest compliment.
Ouais. No, I think I'm proud that we participated into structuring an industry in the right way, because we work in the influencer space. That influencer marketing industry is full of good and bad players. And unfortunately, the media speaks a lot about influencers frauding their tax or promoting crypto or having fake followers, and it's we are under pressure, right? So I'm proud when I see that we don't participate in that, and that we absolutely participate in making this economy viable and healthy. For example, in France, the Ministry of Economy recently passed a law to put some limits on the way influencer marketing work. Our legal counsel participated in writing that law. That makes me proud.
Wow.
Voilà, it's having a positive impact
on the industry.
On the industry.
And do you have a process for, when a client approaches you to work with influencers and you're giving them, or if they've chosen an influencer, do you do due diligence on the influencers to make sure that they're, bona fide and...
Yeah, we have what we call a vetting process. To evaluate if an influencer has a good audience, if he delivers on time, if he has real followers, if he has a legitimate invoicing system. We of course avoid working with influencers that don't have a company, wants to be paid in cash or by PayPal, have fake followers, etc., etc., etc. We have identified 16 million influencers.
That's across the world.
Across the world. So by influencer, I mean anyone with more than 5,000 followers. So technically, we can work with 16 million people. Out of these 16 million, 6,000 have become our suppliers.
Okay.
So we work with a very tiny fraction of that community, not because we are elitist or anything. It's just that our criteria, the criteria of my client, my clients can be anywhere from Audemars Piguet to Procter & Gamble. And these are serious corporations.
Of course.
They're listed, they have CSR requirements, they are diversity and gender criteria to respect. So we need to work with people that behave as adults. Not that I want to blame the 15 millions that I don't work with, but we have to choose simply the best.
All over the world.
All over.
And so back to what you're most proud of. So that's obviously, the fact that you guys are helping to guide the industry and, and how it can be more responsible and legitimate. That's huge.
Yeah. And something which we're really proud of as well is that we have built a multicultural company. Being a spectator of social media, and we are on Instagram and TikTok all day long, we see a lot of sometimes negative comments.
Negative comments on your own?
No. I mean in general,
okay.
Like religion, nationalities, Russia versus Ukraine, Israel versus Palestine, Qatar versus... The social media are full of content which are sometimes racist, issues with diversity, with women's rights, etc. And as part of the industry of content creation, we have a role to play in helping the communities to create content that is positive to the world, right? So that starts with our employees. We have created an entity where we have employees in every continent, from Asia, Middle East, Africa, Europe, US. We have all genders, sexuality, nationalities you can imagine, and everyone works in a positive environment. That, to me, is the prerequisite to create a company that can fuel social media with content that is positive, right? So that is something which I'm really proud of.
And putting something good into the world, even with all your clients as well, like the content that you're helping them create is aligned with those guidelines.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are now I think we have done a lot as a multicultural company to be natively multicultural. Now the challenge that we have is clearly sustainability. Yes. Multiple things are new constraints for us. For many of our brands, we fly influencers all over the world. For the fashion week, for store opening, we probably book more than 1,000 long flights per year.
Really?
Yes. There was a fashion brand event in Miami. Then there is the World Cup happening in Qatar. Then there is Chinese influencers traveling back again. How do we try to minimize or reduce or cut the negative impact, the carbon effect of that? So for the first time, we conducted this year a carbon footprint analysis.
Wow, really?
Very difficult. For us as a company, as well as for all the projects we run.
Okay.
So it's a bit of, we know that we put the light on something that we should rather live under the shadow.
Of course, yeah.
We are probably one of the first players in our sector
to do that,
to take some actions. That might result in losing business.
But long-term wise, you feel it?
I don't know.
And what were the results? I mean, you analysed the carbon footprint of the flights that the influencers were taking to promote.
As well as posting content. There is a lot of academics about the carbon footprint that is consumed by the server, by the hosting, by the tech. So when you post a story, the story might be seen by 1 million people. It creates a lot of bandwidth, of hosting. What is the carbon footprint of posting content on social media? Even if stories are seen for 24 hours, they actually stay on hosting. They don't disappear.
Yeah.
So you create a lot of data, of information, gigabyte of data that we keep on server. So we are starting to question our ability to be more sustainable.
Okay.
Alors, definitely AI is for us one of the solutions.
Okay.
With all those new techniques that create AI-produced images, in theory, it could be possible to have an influencer to promote a city or a product or a service without physically flying or traveling, but just using AI to create content.
Okay.
So that it would not be authentic, but that are some of the things we're exploring at the moment to try to be a more sustainable partner. We also see many of our clients under pressure of new legislation to be more responsible in terms of carbon footprint. So we're part of the value chain. So voilà, the success becomes, at the beginning, it's a source of excitement. At some point, it becomes a source of responsibility.
As well, yeah. So you mean like leveraging AI technology that influencers could create content for a brand in a different city, but they might not actually physically be there, but the imagery that you would create through AI would
we are currently working for an amazing travel destination in the Middle East. And in order to promote that new destination, influencers will need to fly. To come and visit. Of course, we cannot ask influencers to promote a destination without coming and visit the destination. But do they all need to visit? Do they all need to fly? That's a question that we're going to ask to our client to evaluate who really needs to fly and have this carbon footprint, who could avoid flying and be part of a 3D immersive experience and create content through AI.
That's so cool.
We don't have the answer yet, right? But that's one of our responsibility to evaluate if influencers really need to fly from Europe to New York to attend a fashion show. Okay,
that's amazing. Because they probably don't, do they? Like not all of them. Like
for sure they won't. For sure they love. But I think that during COVID, we have asked ourselves tons of questions about using technology to do meetings. We are all familiar with Google Meet and Teams today.
Zoom,
After COVID, there was a big need for everyone to go back to reality, meetings, travel, etc. Now we need to find the right balance. Voilà, the advertising company cannot stay on the side of this sustainability and CSR revolution.
No, definitely not. Especially what's happening now with ChatGPT and DALL-E. That's a really cool AI. You've seen that one, the DALL-E one. It's amazing. Yeah.
So the influencer marketing industry disrupted the PR industry 10 years ago. Now I think we have to disrupt ourselves. I personally was not a big believer of the metaverse as a way to create human interaction. And I don't think that this will become the new mecca or era for content, but AI certainly will.
And you're excited about that?
Excited and afraid.
Afraid a little bit?
Yeah, I'm afraid that some cool kids, 20 years old, will disrupt my business and I will be left on the side the same way I put my competitors on the side 15 years ago.
But it seems like the way you're leading the business is like you're embracing these technologies. So that's...
Well, you have to embrace the cool kids who just left school, full of new ideas, and you have to put these cool kids in their leadership function for them to have an impact.
So you've reached this level of success now. What does success mean for you and how do you measure it at this point in your career?
Better sleep.
Better sleep, really?
Yeah. When you don't have cash flow issues, when you don't have ego problem anymore, when people just pick up the phone when you call, that makes your life easier. So for 5 to 7 years, I had big nightmares, especially for, voilà, everything I would do would be something I would do for the first time. So it created a lot of stress. Now I have a good sleep. So it makes my life easier. I have no financial problem because our company is stable. Voilà.
Better sleep. That has a huge impact on the quality of your life then, I guess, overall, right?
For everyone.
For everyone, yeah.
That's a big problem, huh?
Yeah, it's a huge problem. I feel people don't talk about it enough, I think, about...
No, of course, everyone has anxiety problem, of course. Finding the source of that anxiety is very important. For me, at the beginning, it was cash flow. Many times, at the 15th day of the month, I had no clue how I would pay my salary 15 days later.
Yeah.
And that, I think I started to lose more hairs.
You started to lose more hairs when you were going through that. And now, obviously, that was...
I stopped losing hair.
Yes. Yeah. And who's influenced you the most in your life, do you think? Who's been the biggest influence on your life?
There are a couple entrepreneurs that I really admire. It might sound super cheesy, but Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk are people that I have read about a lot.
Okay.
I admire how Elon Musk doesn't give a shit about anyone.
That's, yeah,
voilà.
Really cool.
And I think you need to, what I learned from Elon is that just accept that some people might hate you, but that's okay. That's okay. What I loved about the story and the biography of Steve Jobs was how he was convinced of certain things, especially from the aesthetic.
Of how to make things look beautiful.
Voilà, and simple. I tried to do simple things. I tried to make it a bit aesthetic. And what I really love about the Bill Gates story is how he was able to transition from a founder to a CEO to a chairman into someone into charity. I think it's a very interesting source of inspiration because Microsoft is still one of the best companies in the world. He has been able to take different jobs over time. So now one of the questions I'm asking myself is, to whom could I give my CEO job?
That's something you're asking yourself already kind of now.
And I'm working on it. If Bill Gates was still the CEO of Microsoft, maybe Microsoft wouldn't exist anymore. There is a lot of controversy at the moment about how Mark Zuckerberg might have led Facebook into the metaverse for the wrong reason. Maybe a couple years back, he should have given his seat to someone else. Maybe to the founders of Instagram.
Yeah, and they've...
I don't know them, but when Facebook started to lose some hype, they acquired Instagram and then WhatsApp. Unfortunately, the founders of Instagram and I think WhatsApp...
They left.
They left. I don't know...
the ins and outs of it, yeah.
But Mark created something amazing, but now who dreams of Facebook?
No, who dreams of Facebook?
No one.
No one.
So that's something to think about.
It is something to think about, that maybe he should have kind of moved into a different type of role.
You know, Zinedine Zidane, our French soccer player, was likely the best soccer player ever in the world.
Zinedine Zidane.
Voilà.
I love Zinedine Zidane.
He stepped back, I think maybe at the right time. Now he's an amazing coach and mentor. You just give your seat to someone else.
And what does that, where do you see for you then going into the future for YKONE? Just like moving to kind of a chairman role and doing something else, or or growing another part of the business, or?
First there is a geography issue. When you have offices in Hong Kong, Shanghai, as well as Vegas/Washington, no one can be everywhere
at the same time.
So first it's about, I think, choosing, in my case, where do I want to live and how do I want to spend my days. If I want to live in Paris, I can't be in Hong Kong, I can't be in Vegas. So you need to potentially arrange your personal lifestyle, and based on these physical limitations, choose other leaders for that. Honestly, I don't understand AI. As well, I don't have TikTok on my phone.
You don't have TikTok on your phone?
No, because it's too addictive. It's too dangerous.
It is so addictive.
But I cannot be the CEO of one of the biggest influencer company if I don't check TikTok every day. So someone needs to lead that company. Checking TikTok every day.
For sure, yeah. What about I know you have a daughter. Do you let her look what? TikTok?
No, she's too young. She's 8 years old, so she's just watching some comics on Netflix, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah, because they are just so addicted. TikTok is like crack cocaine for kids, isn't it? It's just like, sometimes I read that some kids look at it on average 19 times a day. 19 times a day.
I think I was looking at Instagram 20 to 30 times a day.
Olivier, do you have any regrets?
I have given to a few people kind of a co-founder role.
Okay. In YKONE?
Yes, especially at the beginning, I didn't feel at ease being a solo founder. So I tried to grab some people and give them a co-founder role.
You didn't feel at ease because you weren't confident enough?
No,
or just...
I was not confident. I was not feeling legitimate to be the CEO and take care of everything and to embrace all responsibilities. So at the very early stage, I think I broke up with 4 co-founders in the first couple of years.
Really? Yeah.
Then one of my business angels told me for lunch and told me a bit brutally that there is only one guy who can lead a company. There is no way 2 people are being CEO at the same time. So that's something I need to deal with and be okay with this.
That was good advice.
That was good advice. It came a bit late because it was painful. And when you break up with a co-founder, there is no alternative than breaking up. You cannot give a co-founder a small director job.
No.
Voilà. So I wish I understood earlier the importance of being alone. the importance, the reality of being alone. You know, that's the hard part of being a CEO is in the end you're always alone.
You're always alone.
And that's fine. That's part of the job. Tu vois? Alors,
I mean, the buck stops with you, I guess, at the end of the day. Yeah.
You can limit that loneliness with your investors, your employee, your clients, your wife, your friends, your lawyers, etc. But even if I call everyone for advices, at the end, I'm alone making the decision. Which is also quite cool.
Yeah, there's a...
Because you can take, if I can say so, you can take the ownership for the successes.
As well, yeah, of course. It's a double-edged sword.
Right.
Yeah.
But I wish that at the early stage of my entrepreneurial adventure, I had a mentor who told me, you are alone and you will always be. Maybe I would have gone to a bit of a therapy at the beginning to speak about that. No, it's something that we is part of the job.
And and as a leader now, do you think that's something that is beneficial for CEOs and leaders, that they do therapy even, or that they have at the
No, but that's why CEOs love to spend time with other CEOs, is because they can speak about their loneliness.
Yeah, I can. Well, I guess it feels good to be around other people that have the same, that are going through the same thing, right?
But that apply to any community.
Yeah.
Teachers,
teachers, doctors,
doctors, drivers,
lawyers,
football.
It's the
that's
same.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Final couple of questions, Olivier. Are there any books or movies that you felt really impacted your life or guided you, or that you weren't the same after you saw or you read? Any that come to mind?
Well, reading the biographies of Elon Musk and Steve Jobs was really, really insightful. That's something I really like. The movie about Mark Zuckerberg was also...
The Social Network.
Was something
that was
also,
a good movie.
Good movie. What's the name of that film? King of Wall Street? The Wolf of
Wall Street.
Voilà.
About Jordan Belfort.
Well, I like that because in the end, I see my job more as a salesman than a CEO. And I have huge respect for anyone in sales. I think that closing deals is the biggest source of happiness. I think people who feel don't happy, they should find a way to make deals.
Because you get such a kick out of when you... Yeah.
Whatever deal is it, huh? But just try to go out and sell something. That's, if you think of skills, one skill that I hope I will help my daughter to develop is selling. Right now she's more into buying. But hopefully she's creating a stock of things to sell.
That's really cool. Well, Olivier, it's been a pleasure having you on the LifeLab. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your learnings, and good luck with... It seems like YKONE is going to be on a huge trajectory, and I wish you every success for the future.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.